Make una hear me, yeah, when I say
Africa na number one.
I've traveled around the world, yeah, I've seen many countries, I've seen many things.
Africa na number one.
I've traveled around the world, I've seen many countries, I've seen many things.
Africa na number one.
You talk about cultures, you talk of our colors, you talk of our dressing.
Africa na number one.
You talk of our cultures, talk of our dressings, talk of our colors.
Africa na number one.
In African cultures, we respect our seniors, we respect our parents.
Africa na number one.
In African cultures, we respect our seniors, we obey our parents.
Africa na number one.
Oh, Africa na number one.
Africa na number one.
Yeah, Africa na number one.
Africa na number one.
Yeah, Africa na number one. Africa na number one. In the country where I came from, there are tribes. These tribes have their cultures. Africa na number one. In African cultures, they have their cultures and they respect their cultures. In African countries, you don't just take a woman and you call it your wife without performing the traditional rite.
Africa na number one.
In African cultures, children obey their parents and respect their culture. Yeah, Africa na number one. Africa na number one. Oh my people, make una hear me, yeah, when I say
Africa na number one.
oh my people, make una hear me, yeah, when I say
Africa na number one.
I've traveled around the world, yeah, I've seen many countries, I've seen many things.
Africa na number one.
I've traveled around the world, I've seen many countries, I've seen many things.
Africa na number one.
Talk about cultures, you talk of our color, you talk of our dressing.
Africa na number one.
You talk of our cultures, you talk of our colors, you talk of our dressing.
Africa na number one.
In African cultures, we respect our seniors, we obey our parents.
Africa na number one.
In our cultures, we respect our seniors, we obey our parents.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na number one.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na the best, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na the best, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa correct, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na waland, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa the sweet, yo.
Africa na number one.
I'm proud to be African.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na malandi, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na sweet homo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na our people. Africa na number one. Africa na number one. Africa na number one. Africa na the best, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa correct, yo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na sweet homo.
Africa na number one.
Hey, Africa na our country. Africa